Good morning and welcome to the last day of Vlogmas. Sorry, I am as usual multitasking while doing my intro. I had to grab my wallet. Yeah, it is still morning, although barely. It's about 11 o'clock. But yeah, I had sort of just a slow start to my morning and now I'm actually getting going. I just showered, so my hair is all wet. But yeah, I had been thinking about going up to sort of the stores near me where like Target and stuff is, but I just sort of decided I don't really want to do that today, so I think I might do that tomorrow because I want to get out into the world tomorrow, so you know, I'll save it. So I think what I'm going to do today, and the reason I'm kind of getting ready to go, is I'm going to run up to the post office and check my P.O. box because I haven't checked it in a long time, and then I am going to probably run to an ATM to get some cash and then go get some groceries and, you know, do all the adulty things. So today's just gonna kind of be a day of, you know, alternating being really lazy, which I was doing all morning, and then doing, you know, adulty sort of housekeeping things since I've been away for so long, like, you know, groceries and checking my P.O. box. So that's sort of the plan for today. Might be a boring vlog, I'm not sure, but hey, we're okay with that. So I'm going to go ahead and get going while I'm nice and motivated and before I get too hungry for lunch, and I will check back in with you guys in a little while. All right, last grocery haul of Vlogmas. I don't know, I love seeing grocery hauls because it's just as fascinating to me what other people eat. So this is what I'm eating for this week. I didn't go to the store with any sort of a plan in mind. I just sort of got things that looked good and that I knew I liked and that I knew I could put together. So bacon, some ground beef. I'm gonna make burgers again because I really enjoyed having those up in New Hampshire. So ground beef and some Swiss to go on those. This was on sale because it's like sell by date is tomorrow. So I picked up 2 packages of this natural bison stew meat. I'm not entirely sure what I'm gonna do with it. Maybe I'll make stew with it. Maybe I'll find another recipe, but I figured, you know what, for $5 it's not a bad price. Picked up some little baby bells, some tomato paste, an entire rotisserie chicken, let's see, onion, garlic, orange, apple, pound of carrots, coleslaw, roughly a pound of potatoes, and then lots of frozen broccoli and cauliflower. So, plus this morning I went and picked up my coffee for the week and some cream and yogurt and peanut butter. So yeah, pretty solid week, you know, on that eatin' healthy train again after all the indulgence up in New Hampshire. Also, I keep meaning to mention this, but so this week my bill came to $48.67 for everything on the table, and then I spent another like $17 this morning for the yogurt and peanut butter and coffee and everything. So, because again, just as much as I find it fascinating what people eat, it is really interesting how much grocery prices vary across the country. So if you happen to be curious what all of this was, my total grocery bill for the week was about $65, and that's assuming I don't have to go buy anything else. So the more you know. I am quite excited because it is almost time for the Yarn to Table live stream for her first podiversary and year in review, and I'm just super duper excited for that because I'm having a cozy afternoon and that seems like the perfect thing for a cozy afternoon. So I just mixed myself up some iced coffee. I actually haven't tasted it yet. Decent. This is the iced coffee that I made way before Christmas, but I figured that since it was sitting in the fridge the whole time, like, it's fine, and it is fine. So yeah, so that'll be a nice drink to have while I watch Celeste's live stream, and I'm excited, and I'm getting towards the end of my last wedge on the dotted rays, although I'm not gonna lie, I'm getting worried if I'm gonna have enough yarn to do the bind off because I'm getting towards the end of the last wedge, and then you do a row that goes all the way across, which is like 500 stitches or something, and back. So that's gonna chew up a huge chunk of yarn just by itself, and then I have to do the I-cord bind off. So I'm getting worried. So let me, this is how much yarn I have left of the 3rd skein, which is not very much. So depending on how I feel once I get that big long row and back, so right before I have to start the bind off, I also brought out the 2nd color, which, you know, they're not super different, so I might alternate them for the I-cord bind off if I start to get really worried. I don't like to play yarn chicken, and so we'll see. We'll see. I mean, I feel like the worst thing to do would be to play yarn chicken and lose and then have to like add that color in just for like the last couple inches or something, because that's totally what would happen. Versus I think if I alternate them through the whole thing, it won't really be noticeable because they're not that different. We'll see. We'll see if I even get to that point. Like these rows just take forever. So I'm gonna settle in for the live stream and I'll see you guys later. So we're on the home stretch. I am working on the big long row at the end of the last wedge. We're getting there. I'm still not entirely sure about my yarn situation, but we're getting there. As you can see, some time has passed because I'm almost done with my coffee. Celeste just finished up her live stream, which was a lot of fun. Really enjoyed that. Kind of inspired me that maybe I should try that at some point. I don't know. Let me know. Let me know if that'd be something you guys would be interested in me doing. Obviously not all the time, but maybe like once a month, do a live stream instead of like a normal episode. Who knows? But yeah, that was a lot of fun. And yeah, it gave me some good time to get some knitting done. And now I'm like, okay, I can't stop now. I certainly can't stop in the middle of a row. So I'm going to just sit and watch some more YouTube. It's about 3 o'clock, so I should start thinking about dinner soon. But I ate kind of a late lunch, so I'm gonna push back dinner and just be really lazy. So I'm actually just about to start watching Skandir Knits, her Vlogmas. I know a lot of people have talked about her podcast. I've never watched her podcast before, but that's like the really cool thing about Vlogmas is Vlogmas gives me a way to like sort of preview someone's podcast without committing to like watching an entire episode, because I also feel like, you know, you don't get a good view of a person just from like one episode, and they can be kind of long. So like Vlogmas tends to only be 10 to 15 minutes. Gives me a chance to see like, do I like this person's personality? Do I want to watch their podcast? So I love Vlogmas for that reason. So yeah, I'm gonna watch a couple of her Vlogmas episodes, see what I think. And yeah, then start thinking about dinner. But anyway, I'm gonna get back to knitting this giant row and then the giant row after that, and I will check back in with you guys after that. We'll see how the yarn situation's looking. I rather unceremoniously dropped this shawl on the floor because I had to get up to do something, but it is time to bind off. And I think I might have gotten a little too worried about how much yarn I would have left, because this is how much I have left now of the third skein after doing that sort of last couple of really long rows. So I think this will be plenty to bind off. So yeah, I'm gonna bind off. According to the pattern, oh, how many stitches am I supposed to have right now? I'm supposed to have 525. I think I'm actually off by a couple of stitches. I think somewhere I increased an extra stitch or something, not like it matters, but yes, I have roughly 525 stitches to bind off. So I think I'm just gonna sit here and just do it. I'm just gonna finish it up, see if I can get it done before I make dinner. It's currently 3:41, so I will let you guys know when I finish. Guess what? It's done. It's done. I've woven all the ends. It is done. It took me basically exactly 2 hours to do that I-cord bind off because it is now 5:48. And I didn't start exactly when I recorded that last clip because I started a movie and everything. So it took one entire Jurassic Park to do all of the bind off and weave in all of the ends. So it is completely done now. You know, I know the lighting is garbage, so I'm not even going to try and really show it off. I will show it off on this week's podcast when I have nice natural lighting, and I'll be sure to take some pictures. But yeah, it just seems really sort of fitting to finish this at the end of Vlogmas, at the end of 2017. It just sort of, I mean, of course, for me it's the 30th, but for you guys it's the 31st. For me, it just sort of really wraps up 2017. And I thought that, you know, on that note, I would kind of give my closing thoughts on Vlogmas and then close out the vlog for today. So yeah, it relates to this shawl. Like, so it's weird how it all kind of ties together, but sort of my thoughts on Vlogmas is I'm very glad that I did it. And I know a lot of people, you know, a lot of other vlogmasers, I guess, you know, kind of talked about, you know, how glad they were to be done and this and that, and, you know, and that it's a lot of work. And I agree, right? Like, it is a decent amount of work to record every day, edit every day, get it posted every day. And I mean, I knew that going in. I knew what it was going to be like. For me, I think the major lesson came in that it stopped being fun a while ago. You know, like there were just days when I just didn't want to record, and, you know, kind of learning to push through that. And, you know, you know, there's this whole thing about like, oh, you know, you only ever show the positive side of your life on social media and blah, blah, blah. But I think there is also maybe a benefit to learning how to put on sort of, you know, a positive face, even if you're having a bad day. It's sort of that whole, like, if you smile when you're not happy, it will make you happier sort of thing. So I think that was good. I think trying to portray something positive about my day every day made my days better. You know, so I don't mind that part. I think just in general, you know, at some point, big projects kind of stop being fun. And that relates to the dotted rays as well, right? Like, probably in about the middle of the second skein, start of the third skein, it stopped being fun knitting this because it's just such a big project. But I think there's something important about learning to push through when things just stop being fun, right? Because not everything can be fun all the time. And of course, I knew this already, having been to grad school and college and everything, right? Like, it's not all fun all the time. But somehow when I did that in, you know, in undergrad and grad school and, you know, in my job, it's like, well, this is just part of my job. Of course your job, because I thought of school as my job, of course your job isn't going to be fun all the time. And that somehow makes it easier to deal with the fact that, like, you know, grad school was hard or undergrad was hard or work is hard. It's like, well, of course, because it's not going to be fun all the time. But I think sometimes I get into this sort of delusion maybe that, like, everything I do in my personal life should be fun and awesome. And the fact is that it's not. And, like, sometimes, you know, projects, you know, there can be this sort of middle part of a project or process or something that's not fun. Of course, the beginning's fun because it's new, and the end is fun because it's almost done. But the middle sometimes can be a slog, and I think that's an important lesson for me to learn in my personal life, in both in this shawl and in doing Vlogmas, is that, like, sometimes you just have to keep doing a thing, and it works on sort of what I consider to be one of my personality, not flaws, but deficits maybe, in that, like, I'm not good with follow through. Like, I'm good at starting things, not good at following through to the end. So I think this was a good sort of exercise in that, in saying, like, I'm going to record a vlog every single day. And I did. And I'm really proud of myself for doing that and not, you know, chickening out early, not, you know, for doing it. And I really have enjoyed it. I don't mean to say, like, the fact that it stopped being fun, it doesn't mean I didn't enjoy it. And I think one of the things I really liked about it is that it provided sort of a more intimate, I guess, without being creepy, a more intimate way to interact with you guys. And I loved the feedback, and I loved the fact that it was more immediate, sort of, you know, day to day versus sort of the weekly or bi-weekly podcast. You know, I really enjoyed that. And I felt like I got, you know, for those of you who've been watching Vlogmas, and especially those of you who've been commenting, I just felt like it was a really great way to get to know you guys and to get to, you know, interact on a more personal level versus the podcast, which, while I don't consider it to be like a professional sort of thing, I feel like, you know, there it's like I try to keep things fairly sort of uniform and all of that, versus this was just much more like on the fly, like what's happening today. And it's just kind of nice to have this sort of record of my life for the past month. So I don't think this will be the last time it certainly won't be the last time I vlog, since I'm planning on vlogging, you know, for Vogue Knitting Live. And it probably will not be the last time that I do one of these sort of more extended vlogging projects. I don't know when I'll do the next one, but I think it's good. And it has also taught me how to be, I think, better at vlogging, to be better and faster at editing. Like, there's just a whole lot from sort of the behind the scenes side of it that I've learned that I think is really valuable, and I appreciate that. So thank you for anyone who's been watching. I'm sure today's vlog got a little bit long because it was, you know, more talky, but thank you for anyone who's been watching, whether you watched the whole month or just today. Thank you. And I hope everyone has a wonderful new year. Of course, I'll be recording a podcast that'll be up in just a couple of days. So it's not as if it's going to be a long time until you guys see me next. But, you know, thanks for watching. And I hope you have a great New Year's. And yeah, I'll see you in just a couple days for the first podcast of 2018. And I think we're going to hit the ground running. I'm really excited for 2018, and I hope you are too. And I hope it brings in lots of good things for you. And if 2017 maybe wasn't a good year for you, or if, you know, maybe parts of it weren't so good, I know parts of it were kind of challenging for me. I hope the 2018 is better, and I hope that it, you know, brings some new starts and, you know, is a good way to get things turned around for you. So on that note, I'm going to try and get this soaked tonight and get it drying so it'll be dry by the time I record the podcast. And I'm going to make myself some dinner, and I'm just going to have a chill night. And I might not knit at all for the rest of the night because this was pretty tough on my hands. So I might just be done for the rest of the night. But that's going to be it for me. That's going to be it for Vlogmas. Thanks again for watching, and I will see you guys on January 2nd for the first podcast of 2018. Bye.